To sum up, a number of construction bosses told us wages get all the headlines, but what's worse is all the unneeded men they're forced to hire because of union restrictions. The hard hats themselves say they don't work steady, don't take home that much, and have been singled out unfairly. Well, obviously, both sides have considerable political strength, and it's probably fair to say that when it finally gets down to fighting inflation, politics will have as much to do with that battle as hard-headed economics. Gregory Jackson, ABC News, New York. have a gun. Is there going to be a gun attachment? Jimmy, I go right here.
What do you want, a rod?
Get over where they are.
Okay. Yeah, along the lines we were talking about, there's a great deal of saying that you guys make too much money.
Well, I don't believe that at all because we work according to the weather and the weather conditions, and that's the only way we can work. Maybe the other trades that work undercover, like carpenters, plumbers, steam fitters, they can work a full week, but the iron workers and Local 40, we can't do it unless we're a pusher or something like that there, where we're on straight time. We only get paid for the hours that we put in. We'll come here 7:30 in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning and might not go to work at 8 o'clock because of bad weather, snow, rain, or if it's too cold, we don't work. We're usually working above the floors, putting in the iron, so we never get a chance to reap the harvest like the other laborers do and whatnot, where they work undercover.
What do you figure you get home with a week if you're doing well?
Well, if I'm doing well, I work a full 40-hour week. I'll take home maybe $284, but that's a full week. And like I say, we don't work every day.
That doesn't happen often.
Not this time of the year. Now, in the summertime coming, we will. But in the wintertime, there's ice up there, there's snow, there's rain, it's cold, 5 degrees, 10 degrees. When it's 20 degrees in the street and you're up 84 floors, it's like it's 10 below, you know. So, and the wind factor is very bad. Even right now on that side on the wall over there, you can hardly work over there.
What do you say then to the guys that? What do you say to the president or anybody else? Who says
Well, I say that they're not going in depth. They're not really looking into the situation. They're looking at it as a whole, as a whole industry.
Yeah. Okay, just pick up what you were talking about. What do you say to the man who says you're making too much money?
As I said before, like President Nixon hasn't really looked into this in depth because he's taken a whole industry as a whole, which is not right. Because the way we work is much different than that. We don't work in the winter time, hardly. Only 1-2 days a week we get. We're lucky we got a good union and we get good benefits from it. But we don't get money from it. We got a good medical plan. We got a good life insurance plan, which you need on a job like this here.
The other craft unions all say pretty much the same thing, though.
Well, it's true. It's true. Even it's cold for them too, but at least they can work when it rains or when it snows because they're undercover. But there's no heat in the building. I mean, you build a fire and that's it. You know, you can't stand around the fire all day because they're not going to pay you for that.
What do you think about it? If somebody said, "All right, you figure out a way to cut down costs in building," what would you do?
Well, I'd say anybody that can do my job is welcome to try it. That's all. That's all I can say. They think it's because you're getting $8 an hour and some change. That's all it's to it. That's not what the story is. You got to know your job and do your job. And if you don't know it, nobody's going to pay you for it.
And it's dangerous?
I'd say so. Yes, it's dangerous. It's a matter of acclimating yourself to the job. This type of work that we do.
Hold on. What about you? Wait a minute. Let me get your name.
Joseph Wright.
Joseph Wright?
Yes. Iron worker, Local 40.
W-R-I-G-H-T?
That's correct.
Great. Thank you.
Wait, sorry, I don't talk English.
You don't speak English?
I don't French.
Okay. Let me see. Excuse me. We're talking about the argument that construction costs are too high, labor costs are too high, in effect that the trade unions are making too much money. You're making too much money. What do you say?
I don't think so. I ain't making enough money. I don't think I'm making enough. The labor union is not too high. I don't think.
You're making over $8 an hour.
Yeah, but that's not too enough.
Yeah, you know, is it because you don't work steady or what?
Yeah, well, we don't work steady. With bad weather, you don't work every day.
Yeah.
And if it's enough money and we work every day, then it's all right, but not,
What would you do if they told you have to take less?
Well, I couldn't do anything about it. I'd have to go along with what they say. I'm not in authority to say whether I could take less or not.
What do you think about Mr. Nixon's proposal and they're going to hold down wages 6%?
Oh, well, I haven't considered that yet. I'm still thinking about it.
Do you think it costs too much to build buildings? What's your feeling about it?
No, it didn't cost too much to build buildings.
But you don't feel that you make enough.
No, I really don't feel that way.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay.
Wayne, you want to try to get that over?
Oh, yeah, we got to make that over. Yeah. Is it Bob Curran?
Curran.
Bob Curran, right. You may have heard us talking there. We're talking about the impact of labor costs on construction. Mr. Nixon's trying to hold down the prices. He says, in effect, I guess they're saying trade unions make too much.
No, they're not making too much. You may find some of the bosses are making a 40-hour week. Fellas like the guys I got working in the gang here, they lose time. Winter now, they've gained maybe 2.5 days a week for that hazardous job. You'd ask now how many of those senators will break a leg or lose a finger and still only make 6 months a year on their work.
Do you think there's any way to cut down on the cost of labor and construction today?
Not till they stop the rising costs to your products that come out. This isn't just labor's fault. And if a man works 40 hours a week, he's got to make enough to make the price of food. The gang.
I think when I talked to you on the phone, what made my ears prick up is one of the first things, and I said, you know, you're paying, your men are making $12 or $13 an hour, and what I expected from you was a scream of anguish. And what you said at that time, you said, yeah, I'm paying them that, and I don't mind it. You know, you see, I was just surprised at that response. I wonder if you could expand on that. Why, you know?
Well, the $13 is not an actual figure of a 40-hour week and 52 weeks out of the year, or take-home pay for these iron workers. As I explained to you over the phone, the men work for broken time. Iron workers are on broken time. And we have an average of a minimum average of at least 1 day a week that they receive no pay at all. And in between jobs, they're liable to spend a week or 2 weeks looking for another job. So immediately, as you can see, you know, you lose 20% of the $13 an hour in broken time, and an additional lost time ratio of perhaps a month out of the year of going from job to job seeking new employment.
To you as an employer, are they worth the money?
Well, as far as the iron workers go, I don't think that they get 5 cents more than they are being paid right now. Well, perhaps I couldn't quite agree, you know, that it would be strange as far as an employer is concerned. It all depends on who you're employing. If you're employing somebody that is worth this type of money, and if he can get the job done.
I think has come out as clearly. I mean, all of our attention today, President Nixon's announcement, all of our attention is focused on the wage level. I guess because that's the easiest, right?
Probably.
I mean, that's the easiest thing to
Sure.
attack. You can set
That's
a
right.
How do you set 6% on non-productivity? Is that where, you know? Is that what we're?
That's correct. Oh, as far as the productivity is, I think that's only within. It can only be controlled within our own industry. It would be companies such as ourselves that would have to increase the productivity. You could not tie in a wage freeze on how much work a man is going to do. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but
Yeah. How do you maintain if you didn't go back to the say piecework?
right.
As I told you earlier, and I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position, so just feel free not to answer. But if I was President Nixon, called you to say and said, Bob, you got to help me figure out a way to cut costs in construction. It's just getting out of hand, and we're in an inflationary spiral, and what the hell are we going to do? And he says, I'm calling you to help me. What would you tell him?
Well, I feel that his present policy that they're pursuing now in the past couple of days is probably the correct way of having a board that would review the various increases for the various trades. Now, again, in my opinion, there are many trades that are well priced out of the market.
For example?
For example, I would take the steam fitters and perhaps the electricians with their 5-hour day and the compulsory overtime. It just would not be. The wages do not equate themselves to the amount of work that you're getting done.
Could you...
But I want to say one other thing as far as the iron workers are concerned. On any job or any job where there is such a fantastic amount of equipment used, if a beam goes up and there are connectors that have to connect that beam to 2 columns, it's very hard to dog it. The beam goes up and it's hooked up and the hook is unloaded. So it becomes a problem when you have a great group of men that might be stringing wire.
Wait, he's got a little noise. You were making that point. Then I... How is it now, Al?
Sounds better right now at this moment, but there's one point.
Okay. I'd also... Okay, we'll put on a new magazine. Pick up where we, where you left off there. I believe you were talking about, you were making the point again about the iron workers. You brought up, you said you wanted to say another thing about the iron worker.
Well, I guess we were at the point of...
You're saying you really think you get your money's worth from an iron worker.
Yes, I do. I haven't met too many people that wanted to be iron workers. You know, there aren't too many that even with all of these various programs they have, you really have to hustle to go out and get people to come in and join the iron workers.
Even despite that attractive salary?
Even despite the attractive salary.
What would you say then, is it the height? Is it the working conditions? Is it cold, the heat?
Well, I think we have all of these conditions prevalent. We've worked out on this job where the wind has been blowing 30 or 35 miles an hour, 1,000 feet up in the air. It's the so-called chill factor has been as low as 15 or 20 degrees below zero. And if you don't work, you don't get paid. So you do have it in the summertime, you go the other way. The steel will retain heat that's normally 10 or 15 degrees over the ambient temperature. So if it's 90 degrees out, the steel is 105 degrees. And the hazards that are involved in the job, the hard work that's involved. An iron worker, it's hard work.
Well, addressing yourself finally then to the question of, we're talking about labor and construction costs. What do you foresee again? Is there any answer, or is this thing, what the hell is going on? What's the answer to what's going on?
Basically, I feel that the construction trades have been more or less the whipping boy of this inflationary period that we've been having for the past 2 or 3 years. I don't think it's all their fault. You don't hear too much about an automobile going up 100% in cost. Light bills or telephone bills or food or the price of meat. it seems as though the limited amount of time that the construction people work is never taken into consideration at all. The lost time between jobs. We made we reviewed the labor statistics for the past 4 or 5 months throughout the United States. We work in most states, and it's critical to us to pretty much know these figures. And we have found that where the Department of Labor Statistics are 6% of unemployment in a particular area, the normal unemployment rate of the building trades would be as much as 15 to 18% in the same area.
Then why center on the construction trades and trying to control inflation?
Well, I think perhaps when you mention $13 or $14 an hour, immediately everybody multiplies the $14 out by the number of hours per year that you work, and they get the figures up into maybe $28,000 or $30,000. And many of these people have limited education, and they just feel that it makes good copy. That's all. It makes exceptionally fine copy. It's something to dream about.
Okay, Vince. You know what you've got, what you have working now, and you know, how many men will be laid off? I get maybe making your point even more strongly there. How many you got working now, and how many? What's going to happen?
Yeah. Well, we have.
You shouldn't smoke actually. It wouldn't cut
Oh.
it out.
Yeah, well, see, we'll have one picture on another.
Oh, I see.
You know what you got. What are you going to have to lay off? What the? In effect, I guess you're saying the plight of the working man.
Yes. Well, we have been able to maintain a fairly normal level of employment with a goodly number of our ironworker personnel and operating engineers. So we do have enough work that the impact upon the completion of this job, and I guess that's what you're asking, you know, at this particular job, we would not be on one particular job, but we would have 6 or 7 jobs to spread them out on. I would like to think that, you know, that this could continue on forever, but basically it does look like there's going to be a tremendous drop-off in construction in our area.
And that means a lot of men out of work.
And that will mean a lot of people that will be unemployed.
Not restraining yourself to this, your particular kind, but when that building is done and they cut the ribbon and Lindsay's there and all that, I mean, will there be, you know, several hundred men suddenly just out of work?
No, it doesn't work this way. Normally you would have the foundation people would be in, and they would be phasing out as we would start the steel. We'll phase out long before the drastic numbers are let go of various trades on this job.
What's going to happen when that point reaches,
And this
say, in New
step
York?
continues on.
What's going to happen when, right now, construction workers are working, when foreseeable future that building is slowing down in New York, and there's been all of this outcry about cost of labor, suddenly there's going to be a lot of people unemployed. Do you see them taking the cap off then? The 6% increase? Or do you know, will there be a big pressure to get some more money because they're not working that much?
Well, I have never seen a labor rate reduced as long as I've been around. You know, it's never gone down. You do notice production going up, which tends to decrease the overall prices of these jobs. But as far as it reducing wages, I have never seen it in our trade.
I think we're just talking about reducing the increases.
Well, reducing the increases, that definitely follows, as depending upon the amount of work that's available in an area.
Okay, Vince.
On these scaffolds on the outside of the building. I'd like to see Mr.
It be said that the World Trade Center has become very nearly a perfect little picture of the cost of big-time construction in this country. For example, the iron worker. Not too many people want to be iron workers for reasons that should be obvious. And if you wanted to hire a union iron worker in New York today, this is what you'd pay. His basic wage of $8.68 an hour, plus 10% of his gross pay for a pension fund, 9% for his vacation, 7% for welfare, 80 cents an hour for an annuity fund, 7 cents an hour for unemployment and Social Security benefits, and 4 cents an hour toward an apprentice fund. All that comes to $12.35 an hour. But iron workers rarely work 40 hours a week. If the weather's bad or the material doesn't show up, they go home without pay. When they do work, even the man who pays the iron workers' salaries on this huge job will tell you wages aren't the problem.
They're worth a lot more money. The job that they do and the high risk that is involved would warrant at least what they are receiving now. Our quarrel is more with the lack of production or using actually more men than you require on a job to get a job done than it is with the wages itself.
Take these people here working on these scaffolds on the outside of the building. I'd like to see Mr. Nixon put a 40-hour week on the outside of this building during the winter months. And ask these men here who spend an average of maybe only 5, maybe 7 months a year, then you ask these people if they have money.